connecting to cloud server, and I think I did it. I'm always so impressed with myself when I do this. All right, so hey guys, it is Nicole with Stay Wild Child, and welcome to conversation number 40. Thanks so much for joining us today. Today I have Priscilla Yeager on our show, and she was in our Woo Woo Wellness experience. I think that was in August. I think we did that in August. And yeah, she did our Woo Woo Wellness and just came in and did this beautiful alignment with our chakras. That was honestly one of my favorite parts of the whole event. I really, really resonated with that and truly enjoyed it. I thought it was such a nice interactive experience. So thanks so much for jumping on and doing that with us.
Yeah.
All right. So Priscilla, this is how I like to start our Stay Wild Child conversation. The group was designed a couple of years ago, and it's primarily for women at this moment. And it's for helping women remember who they are before the world told them who they were supposed to be. We get stuck in stories, we get stuck in programs, we get stuck in, you know, probably doing what we think that everyone wants us to be doing, or at least I did for a long time. So I'm 49 and I know, I was stuck in that pattern for, I don't know, good middle part of my life. So, so that's why I designed this group. I thought it was just really, connecting with women who are really stepping into their power, they're shining their light. And so I love to take people back. And I don't even know if you have a backstory. We don't know each other very well. We were introduced through Christine, but I know that you did our Woo Woo Wellness and I loved your energy. And so I wanted to have you on Stay Wild Child, and I just wanted you to share. So do you mind just sharing with us, like, kind of what's your backstory? Where were you before? And was there a before? Or have you always just been being just truly and authentically who you are? So I'll hush, let you take the floor.
Well, thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm so grateful that you enjoyed that part in the Woo Woo Wellness. That was quite an impromptu moment, and I took myself by surprise. So I'm very grateful for the many tools and gifts that we all hold within us. And yeah, my backstory. So I have always been into web design. I've always been into helping people. It really started when I was in my teens, like helping my brothers. I had brothers and friends that were always amazing musicians and being around bands all the time. And so for me, I was always kind of trying to figure out, where do I fit in? And so I loved helping them with like their websites, creating all their marketing, like the CDs, making the little packets, making their logos, and just figuring out like the best ways to connect fans to the musicians and what was the link.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And so that really lit me up when I was a kid. And then at about age 15, I started working in the world. And yeah, I've had many, many random jobs, from like pizza time to being a barista to being a hairdresser. And I know, like, I've always known creativity is a big thing for me. It's my driving point. However, as most of us, we're told to go get the job that makes the money, and you ought to have the right partner in life, and you're supposed to have a family and the white picket fence and all that crap. And that just was never the life for me. I knew I didn't want kids, and that's always been a big thing for me. I'm 35 now, but my whole life it's like, why aren't you gonna have kids? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And yeah, I quit my life of a hairdresser. I ended up going into like becoming a barista. And then I went to work for IKEA, like the distribution center. So I went from like grunt worker in the recovery department, like busting my ass in that world, all the way up to management. And I was there for the course of 9 years. And over that course, I really realized I don't really want to do this. I don't want to be a manager. I don't like I don't like how it feels. And the only reason I'm in this role is because of something really my parents, it's like a lot of pressure from like the mom and the dad, like make sure you're making money, you got to pay your bills, you got to have the house, all these things. So yeah, I love what you're all about. And I just recently did this whole timeline, like writing out from your age 5 to 25
Oh,
to
nice.
find your values. And I love this process, and I highly encourage anyone to do it, because when you write from 5 years old to 25, these are our formative years.
Yeah.
And so I had realized, like, wow, I really blocked a lot of things out. So much abuse and so much trauma from the early years. It was like between 6 to 8, I was finding myself really blocked. And it's just so fascinating when you do allow yourself to take the time and give yourself permission to look back and allow yourself to write out, what are the painful points that I remember in my life? And I know that when I look back at my 15 to 25-year-old self, and I look back at the years of like, wow, I just worked my ass off to be something I had no desire to ever be. And especially 23 to 25, being a woman in like the corporate world, and it's like you're trying to fit this certain role, and you really have to learn how to be, especially in a warehouse. Like there really were probably maybe 5 women working in the warehouse amongst hundreds of men. And so you really have to learn how to have like this tough skin. And so I really stepped into that masculine energy, that masculine role.
Yeah.
And I was always like breaking my body, driving a forklift, driving reach trucks, stacking pallets, just trashed my body. And at about 23, I started to discover like my body I was moving like I was 90. And I realized this is not good. So I actually got into yoga. I discovered I needed yoga. And I saw an energy healer. She had told me that, I was so closed off. I had the hardest time looking people in the eyes. I was so like full of anxiety and so antisocial. And so, learning about yoga really helped to open me up. I started doing heart openers. I started getting into breath work. I started learning about energy. And I would walk and I would collapse. So it was like my whole sciatica was trashed from sitting on a box knife for like 4 years. Sure. And driving forklift. I really thrashed my shoulder, my whole body really. And so then I started to discover like, I got to take care of me. And then the path of yoga really started to just amaze me at the fact that simple, small movements, I was out of pain. And for me, I'm the kind of person, when I find something that I love and inspires me, I am like all in, and I want the whole world to know about it.
Me too.
Yeah.
I could relate.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, I wanted to bring yoga into the warehouse. Over the course of 9 years, you become family with all the people you work with. One great thing about IKEA has amazing values, and they actually hire based on your values. So they had all these people, like it was not uncommon for everybody to be like doing each other. And, you have like really strong friendships and relationships. That's how I met my husband. And so we got yoga into the warehouse. Like I was so wanting what yoga, because people were going out on L&I, they were going out, on workers' comp, because shoulder injuries, and the number one injury in the warehouse was backs going out, people having to get back surgery. And I'd watch them come back from back surgery just waddling, like, and in the warehouse, you're kind of dicks to each other. Everybody's just like, oh, what up, Waddles? Like that's actually someone's nickname.
Yeah.
And so, I was so inspired to just get out of this rut of stress and anxiety. I would go through heavy depression spells. Like I would just go through such dark stages. And especially as I like climbed the ladder, the more and more you work,
the more successful.
Yeah. And then I finally got to management, and by that point, I had a yoga practice. And I was at this stage in my life where I was like, I got to conquer my fears because I've always been such a fearful person. And my number one fear was heights, fear of heights. I would get like into something with heights and I would literally just freeze and get paralyzed. And so I decided I'm going to do whatever I can to like push myself out of my comfort zone. That's the only way you're going to grow. And so I went, took some trapeze lessons, and that was super fun.
Yeah, I'd love to do trapeze. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I love seeing like all your stuff. I'm like, ooh, she's doing stuff like I do. I love it.
Yeah.
And so then I found the silks, and the silks I had a little bit more of a connection to because you're a little more in control.
Yeah,
It goes to show you how much the mind needs to be in control.
Yes.
And so I was like, okay, I'm in control here and I love it. But driving to Seattle from like Tacoma is like an hour, and it could be an hour and a half. And that was just draining on me. So I then found a studio that was teaching aerial yoga in my city. And I was like, oh, hell yeah. So I took a class there, and I fell in love with it. It was like this perfect hybrid combination between silks and also yoga.
Yeah.
And I loved this fusion. And so I was taking that. I remember the first time just laying in the hammock in what we call cocoon.
Yes.
And it was like, oh my God, this is the first time I feel like I could just be safe to cry. I could be safe to let my emotions out. I can be safe to just relax and not feel stress. And just with that practice alone, I noticed my life like changed so much, and my body physically changed so much. And so, yeah, I wanted to teach it. I wanted to bring it to the warehouse. Like, oh my God, everybody's out with back pain. This is the answer. Like, go upside down, invert yourself, your whole back, your whole spine realigns. Hell yeah, this is it. And so I did. I went and took my training. I flew to New York. I did my training for anti-gravity, which I'm so grateful I found that specific practice, because the man who developed that is named Christopher Harrison. And he basically is his own miracle story. And every instructor is such a miracle story. But he talks about how, you know, he was basically told he wouldn't ever be able to dance again. He's had like 8 knee surgeries, and this guy's in his 60s still teaching people how to do backflips now. So it's just so inspirational to know that as you get older, you can actually get younger if you just allow yourself to do the things, right? To trust, to suspend your disbelief.
Yes.
So yeah, so I found that practice. I loved it. And it was a bit of a rough go for me because I loved it so much. I went right into, dude, I'm gonna start teaching this. And the woman who was my teacher at the time wanted me to work for her, and I didn't want to work for anyone. I was ready to start finding my own path and to get out of this lifestyle of working for someone else.
Right.
And so I taught it at first just as a practice, and I tried to see if I could get it into the DC where I was working, and did a whole PowerPoint, presented it to all the management, and they were like, no, it's too much of a liability. So, okay. But I just found myself going to work every day, and it was like, hey, Ursula, we need you to write this person up because they called out sick too many days. And it's just like, I need you to write this person up because they did something like clocked in 5 minutes late. Like, just the stupid crap that corporations overlook in people. And I know, like, for me, my people, they're showing up, they're kicking ass, they're making goals, they're doing their jobs, you know. So I'm trying to keep my team positive and happy and healthy. That's my purpose. And yet to have upper management, like, you know, it's all a money game and it's all a numbers game. And there was no caring for the people.
Yeah.
And I just could not handle that anymore. I finally reached like my final, I was noticing I teach anti-gravity, like just for fun in the day. And I would just be so lit up and you're so happy and everybody's leaving feeling so good. And then you go to work and it's like, we need you to do all this dumb stuff. And so I just finally said, no,
Right.
like no more. I'm done. So I literally just quit. I didn't put my notice in. I didn't do all the crap people tell you have to do, like put in your 2 weeks.
Right.
I was at the point where if it's like, if I'm not getting respect on this end, I'm not going to really show the respect either. So I have this kind of rebel attitude in me. And I just said no more.
Yeah.
And I left, and it was the best decision I ever made. I totally took that leap of faith. I had no clue what I was doing. And I just jumped. And I used my money from my 401k, all the things people tell you like not to do.
Right. Yeah.
And I gotta say, I'm so grateful. I would not have changed anything that I did. And I remember telling my dad, I'm quitting to do anti-gravity. My dad just kind of looked at me like, it's like that moment you can see your parent looking at you with just like utter disappointment, like, what the hell are you doing? Like, my daughter's leaving to quit this to join the circus kind of thing. And the cool thing is I did that 4 years ago. And within about 2 years, I was doing really well. Like, I just started my business and I put my blood, sweat, and tears into it. And most of all, I put my love into it. And I ensured that every class was going to be full of joy. And every class was going to be to help people conquer their fears and to find trust, because those were the two things that drove me to it. And yeah, so now since COVID hit, I haven't been teaching, and life has definitely taken a whole new turn. But what's been so great is I noticed with all of my students, I think one of the biggest realizations for me is that the classes it wasn't really the classes. It made me realize it was me. It was me what they came for. They came to talk with me. They came because they liked that I helped them feel good on a day where they felt like crap. And the one compliment I've gotten that has really like driven home for me is, we just love that you create such an after class. I would always talk with my students and we would draw cards and we would just dive deep into chakras and, spirituality and whatever. But I always left like an hour after class to chat with people. And that's not really common in the yoga world. Usually in a yoga studio, it's like, okay, here's your time. Now get out. And we got the next class.
Right.
So I fell in love. I love coaching people. I love like walking people through their crap and helping them see their power, helping them see like that there's so much more to them than what they're told, right? You're not just a mom, you're not just a wife, you're not just a manager, you're not just a driver, you're not just whatever label you want to put on. You're all these things and more. And I notice so many people have a hard time seeing their true essence, seeing their true potential. And I'm very grateful that over the last 4 years, I was huge on collaboration. And it really helped me meet amazing people. All these amazing healers just started kind of magnetizing into my world.
Isn't that amazing? It's the coolest thing ever. That's exactly what's happened to me over these last few years. Yeah.
And then it just happens. Right. And I guess that's how you know, right? Like, okay, this is the right path for me. Like, I'm doing something right if all this magic's coming towards me, because it's pure magic.
Right.
So yeah, I've been really blessed. I've gotten into sound healing. I've really dove into, yoga. I'm so glad that I chose that path because it's never ending. Yoga is not just about poses. It's about your breath. It's about connecting to meditation. It's about connecting to yourself. And I truly believe we're just here to know ourselves. Once we know ourselves, we know how to be ourselves, be that authentic self, as you said, helping to remember who we are. And often we forget. And yeah, I'm in love with this journey. And even though there are some days where I still, especially in this last 8 months, having
Sure.
to let go of this business I'm so passionate and love, but yet it's helped me blossom into this new career where I'm realizing out of all my friends that are amazing healers and have these like, I want the world to know about what they do.
Hmm.
There's one thing I found in common is that they're terrified of being seen. They're terrified of getting themselves out on Instagram. They're terrified of Facebook. They're terrified of props to you, Nicole. I really admire that you are doing this. And yeah, it's a lot that you have to shed when it's like, okay, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to gather the people.
Hmm.
I'm going to take the chance on someone who I don't even know and just see what happens. It's constantly stepping into the unknown.
Yeah.
And then it's also like, okay, how do you link Zoom to Facebook? How do you make this go live? And oh crap, it's going live. People are going to see me. They might, what if I look stupid? Or what if something goes wrong? Or what if it freezes? Like we let all these fears
Yeah.
get in the way, right? And you've had to overcome that. And it's so amazing because here you are, and here I get to be talking and connecting with someone who is a beautiful person and I've gotten to meet through technology.
Yeah. It's cool, isn't it? We have, I mean, it's this beautiful gift that we have at our fingertips. And, I love that you are helping people then brand themselves essentially. Is that what you've stepped into since COVID?
Yeah, so I actually just I'm doing programs now, like signature programs, and I just started from my first one. It's called Align Online, and basically it's walking people through what is the end result? What do you
Yeah.
want to do? What do you want to bring to this world?
Right.
And what do you have to do to get through those milestones? Like, what are the milestones going to be to get there? And so we're working through the first steps is just sharpening those tools. Like, what are the mindset shifts that we have to break through in order to feel comfortable to even brand yourself, feel comfortable to even, and I'm really just encouraging people to just get out of the way of like the fact that, we get so stuck that I need a website. It's the first thing
Oh,
we think we need.
yeah.
I need a website. I need a website. It's like, actually, if you just learn to get on Instagram and connect with
Right.
people,
Mhm.
all people want is to talk with you and to know what you have to share. And the moment you start sharing what lights you up, it's just easy. It's fluid. It's not hard anymore. So it's fun for me to get, like, I have one friend and she's this amazing energy healer, but she's terrified of the camera. And so I'm like her biggest challenge because whenever she comes over, I've got a camera recording us and I'm just chatting like this. I'm like, hey, can you tell me about what are the four thumbs again? And I'll purposely mess them up just so she gets upset and has to tell me like, no, it's like this. And then she'll
Yeah.
teach me how to do it all. Um, and it's just so amazing because I'm getting to learn these awesome tips and tools, but I'm also getting her comfortable in front of a camera. And what I use for my students is we use Slack to kind of keep a community base together. And then we use Marco Polo.
Oh, I love Marco Polo. It's the coolest thing. I just started using it, but it's so cool.
Yeah, it is amazing. And
Yeah.
they're evolving too. They have a new thing called Channels that's really exciting. It's like
Oh,
Facebook and
nice.
Marco Polo came together and had a little baby.
Cool. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, so you'll probably want to check that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marco Polo I find is so nice because it gets people comfortable to be in front of a phone
Yeah.
where they may have been terrified to do it. Um, so yeah, I love using these tools that are just kind of like gentle ways of getting people comfortable. Because once you're comfortable in front of Marco Polo, you start not giving a crap what you look like. Like, okay, I'm just going to respond to this message
Yeah.
and say what needs to be said. But then, it hopefully will get people comfortable taking a selfie for Instagram,
Sure.
or getting comfortable with how to even use their technology, like getting through those little roadblocks of the thought of this isn't going to work for me, and switching it to how can this work for me.
Yes.
So
So my resistance, I'll share with you my resistance over COVID.
yeah.
And I'll just say, I mean, it's weird to call it, but that's what this time has been. I mean, for me, it's actually been, I've loved this year. However, my resistance in this year is it's, I don't want to use the word responsibility, but it's, I guess it is responsibility, accountability. Although I do this weekly, and I'm on Instagram and I'm on social media, and I definitely, I've been used to branding myself, for a period of time,
Yeah.
and also I'm okay with, if I mess up, shoot, I mess up. I'll just come on and tell you about it later, because I mean, I think vulnerability is a great gift, and it's what connects people to people, because they're like, oh wait, she's not, totally perfect. I don't have to be either, but my it's the schedule. So I guess it's holding myself to this routine. I have felt a major resistance to it this year. And yeah, that's something that I probably need to do a little dive in and take a look at. But that's been, I could have had like a lot of growth this year. Like if you looked right over here, there's this board that has it has so much information on it, on this program I was going to put together. And it's been there since the beginning of 2020 and it hasn't been touched. And I've just been in resistance of like sitting myself down and just like working on it. I've been more this year into like just sitting in nature and just sitting there and just taking life a little slower. I've enjoyed the time that I've been able to add to my life this year. So I guess the resistance comes into play with the, oh, well, let's let's kind of keep moving forward in your business. And so I like that you're doing this for people, because I think it's really needed. Those of us who, step into our creativity, a lot of times, I don't know, schedule is it's a bit for me that needs to be enhanced. I don't know.
I love that you just said that, because actually, so I'm in week 2 of my program, and
Okay.
I will say I'm totally very similar. I'm a water element, which I can be very like watery, meaning I love to go inward. And when I go inward, I could self-isolate. So that is something I have to be very mindful of in myself.
Mhm.
And also being creative, a creative entrepreneur. So I'm working with heart-centered entrepreneurs. Like this is my niche, right? Well, heart-centered entrepreneurs, most likely, just like you and I, right? We love our time to just do whatever the hell we want.
Exactly.
And this is a need though. Like this is
Right.
a mandatory thing that we must have to give what we give in the world. Like we need that nurture time. We need that self-care time. We need our time in nature. We need our time to just dream.
Yeah.
And so my second week, what we work on is we're working on it's called the upward spiral, where we're learning how to spiral back up through writing out like our beliefs, like our goals, our values, all those things, but taking it to a deeper level where we're working on establishing a routine.
Mm-hmm.
And that for like heart-centered creative types, we're like, what? No, you are not putting me in a box. Now the rebel's coming out and I am going to have utter resistance to this, right? And
Yeah.
so the routine that I've created up for myself, even, and this has been so helpful for me, is I have like Mondays are typically my like digital detox day. So like after this call, I'm gonna just power down.
Yeah.
And it's my time to be in nature. It's like my day to just be free from nothing. Like it's whatever I want to do. And like Sundays are my day for self-care. And Tuesdays and Thursdays are like my tech days. Those are my days that I have literally blocked out in 2-hour increments. These 2 hours, you're going to focus on your website. These 2 hours, you're going to focus on connecting with clients. These 2 hours, you're going to connect to yourself and reevaluate, like, what are the things you really want to dive into? What's really of importance right now moving forward? And so it's been so helpful for me to block out times in my calendar that are like, here's where your time for creativity is, and here's your day for creativity. Because I just know myself, I need a day. I'm not going to fit into a 2-hour window for creative time. Like that doesn't work.
Right.
So Sundays and Mondays are kind of my like floaty, watery days where I can just be free. But then the rest of the week, it's like, cool, now I have goals for myself, and I have to hold myself accountable to make those goals. So like I have this, like I always keep by my computer, this is called daily vitamins. And it's like, what is my priority? What are the top 3 goals? And usually it's like, okay, my priority every day is to do Wim Hof breath. If I don't do the Wim Hof breathing, I see a difference in my day.
Oh, I do too. I do. I've started the Soma, but essentially the same thing. You know, Wim Hof and Soma, very similar. But it's true. If I skip that, my day is totally different.
Yeah. And same with my daily energy routine. And this is based off of Donna Eden, but it's like the tapping, and you're constantly crossing your energy and moving in your body. So it's like, that's kind of my easy movement in the morning. And these things are so helpful, but if I skip them, then I go down a downward spiral real fast if I miss these things. So it's like, I know myself, these are my priorities every day. So I think, you know, when we say goals, people often like put all this pressure on themselves to make a goal, like I got to get something done. But the truth is, my goals are like so much more revolved around self-care and self-compassion. And if we can make that the number 1 goal, like with Align Online, how do you get aligned in yourself first? Because if you're not aligned in yourself, then you're going to show up trying to be like everybody else on Instagram. And this is a struggle for people. People are really having a hard time with social media and it's looked at like it's the devil, right?
Right.
But I think the truth is people don't really understand how to be on there in their own way.
Yeah.
Right.
Doesn't have to be like you, doesn't have to be like me, doesn't have to be like you know, some of the other that I follow. We're all unique, and it's I think it's, you know, a little bit of it is that letting go of control. And once you let go of that control, then you can really show up as who you authentically are. But it's, you know, I mean, right now, especially, I know that, you know, the temperature on social media is a little more aggressive, or at least it is in my view, but that's probably the reality I've created. And so, right. And so, yeah. And so, you know, it's really choosing, those people who you want to follow, and feeling their vibes, but not like taking on their vibes, and being uniquely themselves. I think this is going to be a really powerful workshop. So tell me what it's called.
So it's called the Align Online Accelerator.
Yep.
And it's a 90-day program and I'm just working with very small people right now, like 3 people at a time, because I am going all in. And I know it requires of me like a lot of energy. And like you said, you know, you've got this board next to you of like all the things that you want to create, right? And so, you know, I took this program called the OCA, the Online Coach Accelerator, with Rachel Bell, and I highly recommend anybody that wants to look her up. She's an amazing woman, and I'm so grateful I took this course. It was a chunk of change, and I was like, oh my God, I don't know if I have that. And it was that perfect example of whenever you just take the leap and you jump into things, it always works out. It's always worth it. And investing in yourself is never a bad thing. That was my biggest takeaway. Always invest in yourself, even when it's
Yes.
scary. And you're going to learn something. And I learned so much. And I got to say, like, I'm still integrating it. And I'm taking a lot with what I learned from that program. And that program really, really, like, man, they like really drill it in to just take messy action. And so I got to witness in myself,
Yeah.
holy hell, what a procrastinator I can be and what a perfectionist I can be. And
Yes.
yeah, and my perfectionist side, I love her. She's
Yeah.
amazing.
Sure. She helps you, but
But damn, she's held me back from a lot of cool stuff.
right.
And I gotta say, that 90-day program has changed me in that aspect. Like, I am just getting on Instagram and throwing things out and being silly with it. And I'm also letting myself off the hook. Like, I don't have to post every freaking day. I
Yeah.
mean, this is something that people put a lot of pressure on you to do. And so it's like, you take what works for you. This is what
Sure.
I highly encourage everyone to do. Yeah, some people are going to tell you, you got to show up every day. You got to show up every day. Be consistent, be consistent. And I totally agree with consistency. And that's something that's going to be like a muscle. You got to learn how to do that. You got to build it. So just do your best. No better, no less. Show up when you're ready to show up.
Mhm.
And if you don't, like, don't beat the hell out of yourself. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't
Right.
mean everybody's suddenly going to be like, oh my God, Priscilla didn't post today. Well, screw her. You know? So yeah, but doing that messy action, just like taking the leap and doing the things and putting yourself out there. Um, I know we have a connection with Christine, and it just makes my heart so happy because not even, like, I guess it was a little over a year ago. Um, she too was kind of like didn't have an Instagram, not knowing where to start. And I love that I just let her know, like, hey girl, just start an Instagram, throw some pictures of yourself out there and put some quotes out there. And I don't know, just put out what you want to put out, talk about yourself, talk about what you do, and see what happens. And man, that girl, she just took off with it. And it's so great when you can tell somebody a piece of your advice and they like do it 10 times better than you ever will. And I love watching that. It's so magical. And yeah, she just really did such a great job with it, and it makes me happy. And it brings me to that point where it's like, now you can teach me. Now you can show me some tricks, like but just it takes that little bit. And this is why I believe so strongly in coaching, in mentorships.
Yes.
Everyone needs a mentor, everyone needs
Right.
a coach, everyone needs a friend that can just be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you just get out of your way? And or just to be asked that one question, how are you in your own way today? Like, it's such a nice question to be asked daily, like, how can I get out of my way today? Okay, what's my resistance, and how can I get past that? Like, what's one little baby step I can do? Maybe that's typing something up, maybe it's actually just doing one of the things. Like, in the perfectionist mind, for me to build out a program, it looked like having the program built out. And now I'm realizing, no, just be one step ahead of the game.
Exactly. I love that you just said that. So my friend, when I was in action mode, and when I was in action mode, I had a friend. She works for an advertising agency. I had her come over, and it was a course that I was putting together, had it all written out, and I'm like, okay, I got to do this, and she said, hold on, just release one module at a time.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh. She's like, you don't have to have the whole thing done. But, in the perfectionism mind, we feel like, there has to be this completed product. And so I love the messy action. I've been in direct sales for a period of time, and that's really how your business grows. You just take messy action. You just give it a whirl. And if what you're doing is not working, then you make adjustments on the way. And, you we can't learn it all at one time. We just, we can learn. I mean, maybe there's some of us, there's some people who can, but we learn these little bits and we take these little action steps, and then they work or they don't. And nobody's going to hold you accountable to something that, that you were trying out. I mean, it's like you're not ruining anyone's life by taking by trying something, right?
Yeah. And there's I'm very amazed that like there's so much fear around. I mean, this is why I'm so stoked right now, like helping other people. And I've been doing it for years anyways, but I just did it for free. I used to sit and help people build websites and just get their business, because it killed me when I'd work. I worked in this kind of community space called Good Karma, and it was where multiple healers rented out spaces. So it was like everybody chipped in towards the rent. So it was
Sure.
doable for people to get on their feet, kind of like an incubator. It was this beautiful concept. And I'd watch some of these just, oh my gosh, because I would of course go try everybody out, because why
Sure.
not? And
Yeah,
I
of
would
course.
love to see what everybody's about. And I would just be in awe at some of these healers and the way they could take away pain and the way they could help you move through things. And then I watched them go work jobs that they just hated and loathed. And I'm like, dude, let me help you let me help you just put a website up. Let me help you get your Instagram and Facebook up. And I'm going to teach you how to do the things, but I need to be clear. And this is a big thing that I teach in my program. I'm going to teach you and show you how to do this stuff that I wish somebody showed me, but I'm not going to do it for you.
Yeah.
So I will show you how to make a website, but you're going to do the work with me, and you're going to get hands-on. And I'm going to show you how to click a bunch of buttons and make a bunch of mistakes, and then hit the undo button and learn that it's all okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to show you how to slide photos around, and I'm going to teach you how to get out of your own way and get some nice quality pictures of yourself. Hire a photographer, or set up your camera, push record, move around, look at it, and and then take some screenshots from it.
Sure.
But just get some pictures of yourself and get out of the way of the excuses. And this is a big one for a lot of heart-centered entrepreneurs, is they're terrified of their picture being put out into the world. And so this is kind of like I think it'd be really nice to connect. I need to find like some good heart-centered photographers that know how to really make people comfortable and feel that comfort in their own element, so they can have, it's so magical when you can get a picture of yourself that you look at and you're like, damn, why have I been hiding all these years?
Right,
Actually, I'm beautiful, But yeah,
I think that'd be a great value add for the people that you're working with, because you're right. It is, yeah. I mean, to have somebody who can help coach you through a photography session that allows you just to expose who you really are, that's a real gift. And yeah, and there's a lot of people who can take amazing photos, but to really capture the essence of who you are, that's something that's really special for sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm so stoked. I'm stoked that I'm going through the coaching path now. I'm really enjoying it. It's like this opportunity to ball all of my gifts into one. I can still do my meditations. I can still teach. I'm teaching a lot. Like, we're at computers all day and we're in reactivity mode. So I'll have people do a little energy medicine where you put your thumbs over your index finger and just kind of rest your thumbs at your temple and take some deep breaths. So if you're at the computer and you're feeling just like so frazzled and so stressed, you can do simple little tips to bring yourself back into your body. I don't know if you've ever heard of like the Pomodoro technique.
I don't think I have. No, share that with us.
I love this. I'll send you a link, but it's so helpful for anybody out there, because we're all at our computers for a really long amount of time now, like more than ever. So it's a timer. It's a 25-minute timer. And there's a website, pomodorotechnique.com, or no, tomatotimers.com. And it's like, you set your 3 goals. Okay. I'm gonna write an email sequence. And sometimes I'm like, you know what, that's gonna take me my 25 minutes. So that's my only goal. It's my only
Right.
focus.
Yeah.
And then you push start and it gives you 25 minutes. And then after 25 minutes, the timer goes off. And that means it's your time to get up, move, dance, shake. I have my drum by my computer, so I can just play
Yeah.
my drum and
Nice.
and get some water or use the bathroom, and then you come back to your next goal, or you continue to finishing the goal you were working towards. But it's 25 minutes working, 5 minutes break. 25 minutes working, 5 minute break.
Mm.
And you do this in a 2 hour increment. So that way, by the last round, you have your 15-minute break where you just sit and meditate or dance, or you completely walk away from the computer and go live your life, get out
Right.
in nature. But it's been so helpful. This
Oh, that's
technique
a
has
good
been
one.
really helpful.
Yeah. I love how you talked about the 3 achievable goals on the days that you are, um, that you've scheduled basically for work stuff, right? You have 3 of them versus, you have this whole to-do list that you're looking at and you're like, oh, how am I going to get to it all? And then the overwhelm kicks in and you don't do any of them because, yeah, you haven't broken them down. So it's that chunking, it's that breaking things off in chunks that make them obtainable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so, I used to be such a hard ass. I was my boss from hell. I was such a hard ass on myself. And I'm so grateful I'm learning to be a little more easy. Like my motto is always like beat yourself with a feather. It's
Yes.
okay. Um, and yeah, I still can go into that very action, gotta get stuff done and all,
Right.
like, especially when you're doing your own, it's not easy when you're doing your own websites, when you're doing your own, like, learning, even Instagram, like they just change everything constantly. So it's
Yeah.
like right when you feel like you learned something, and this is why I tell all my students, hey, right when you learn this, it's gonna
It's going to
change.
shift. Yeah. Right. Hmm.
So always keep that sense of curiosity, and
Yeah.
that will help you alleviate the frustration. Because when you're like, what's the point? And you get frustrated about it, it's like, it's just going to drive you mad.
Yeah.
So if you constantly just remind yourself, like, hey, you know what? Today I'm just going to share from my heart, and I'm going to take, and I have to literally, for me to even have learned Instagram, like right now I'm learning the whole reels thing, which I actually really love. But I'm giving myself an hour a day, just
Yeah.
1 hour to focus on it. And if I learn something, cool. And if I don't, oh well, tomorrow. Try it again
Sure.
later.
Yeah.
But giving yourself time to actually learn it and to know that you're not going to do it overnight. That's
Yeah.
a big learning lesson I've had to take myself,
Sure.
Like, you're not going to create everything overnight. Sometimes you can, but you'll go to burnout real quick. And I can tell you firsthand, I've hit the burnout in my days of just go, 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 go. And I'm grateful for it because it taught me what I needed to learn. And I
Exactly.
am very grateful for COVID in this time because it is, I love this quote. This guy had said, do not cancel the year that you had to get your shit together.
There you go.
I'm like, yep,
Yep.
this is the year. So even right now in this time, it's like, I actually pulled out all of my papers because I'm the type of person that, but there's a paper around, I'm writing on it. It's
Yeah.
like my way of channeling, right?
Yes.
So I finally went through all these papers. I just scattered them all around. And it was such a great reflection of like, holy crap, man. I've learned a lot of stuff just in this year.
Oh, yeah.
And looking back on like some of the little pieces of paper of like things that you've written, it's like, oh my God, I did it. I did that. I did it. It's done. Like the power of manifestation is just so mind blowing. And you just think, I know for me this whole year, I've thought to myself, like, I definitely went through a stage of like, oh my gosh, I could have done this, or I should have had this made by now, or,
Yeah.
this is something I should have done by now. And it's like, dude, you've done a lot. You've been in learning. Now
Right.
it's time to integrate and put it out there. And even with what I want to put out there, it's like getting clear on what do I want to put out there. And I feel for once like very clear that I want to help heart-centered entrepreneurs be empowered, have the courage and the confidence to do what they do. And that way, when they go out and share their gifts, like there's just this huge ripple effect of
Yes.
magic out in the world, more than I could ever do on my own, right?
Exactly. Yeah. 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 It's
So
so good. Oh, yeah. I love watching you shine, girl. That's wonderful.
thank you.
So you're in the middle of a course right now, and I'm assuming you'll probably offer another one after the first of the year, after this one,
Yeah.
hopefully. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to be doing just little workshops, kind of little 4-week workshops, because what's different about the program that I'm offering is, and what I'm offering to people in my workshops is there's going to be a lot of accountability,
Mm.
a lot of, I will say there's going to be a lot of hand holding, but also it's more of just the accountability. Like, hey, where are you at today with your goals? What's standing in the way? How can I be a support? And if I need, let's get on a Zoom call real quick and walk through this.
Mm.
Because usually it's just something really small that, like walking someone through how to get on canva.com, create something in there, and then how to post it. And then I'm realizing the problem isn't really even knowing how to use the technology. The hardest part for people is the mindset shift that needs to happen.
Mm.
And there's a big fear for a lot of the people I'm working with. It's like there's a fear of putting something out there, and it's because it's not perfect.
Oh,
it's not perfect.
Yeah.
And that I love to, my favorite part to do with people on this is it's like, okay, here we have a picture of you with what you are doing and who you are, and you're afraid to post it because that means you're going to be seen. So the real fear is the fear of being seen. So how can we get beyond that? How can you love yourself more? So this is why the first couple weeks is like, how do you fall in love with yourself?
Yeah.
And then we can shine. But you gotta love yourself first.
Yeah. Well, then I think the best way, since you're going to do these little mini workshops as well, I'll post in the group the way that people can contact you and follow you on your social media channels. So did you announce this last workshop that the one that you're doing right now? Did you announce it?
Yeah,
I missed it.
So funny because I had in my mind I want 3 people. And the course I was taking at the time was like, you got to do this launch and you got to hit it hard and you got to make these posts and and that's not in alignment with me. I totally 100% understand it can work and there's value in that for sure, but I'm so done with the hustle. So done with the hustle. And I am so grateful with all of my friends and my community that I've built, and the power of knowing about manifestation. Getting clear on what you want, and it will magnetize to you. And do you have to do work? Yeah, of course. But I said I want 3 people. I started designing the course, and I put one post out on Facebook, actually, just asking for some beta testers. And my 3 people found me.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, I didn't do a whole lot of announcing or pushing on it. And that was really awesome. I added it to my story, which I'm about to revamp anyways, but I think that's the power of Instagram too. So it's putting out on using the highlight feed and putting out your story on there. But yeah, it was really magical how they just kind of came, and it's the perfect people, right time, right place, right people. I so believe in that.
Yeah.
So, but the next launch I'll be doing will be most likely in March.
Okay.
And in the meanwhile, starting in December, I will be putting out there, I'm going to do an upward spiral guide 4-week mini training.
Oh,
So it will be a week of diving into your values. We'll be doing that timeline, like I told you, the 5 to 25. And then the next week we'll be diving into what were the values. Like it's creating your comic book character in essence, like who is your origin story? And that's what made you become. So for me, it's like I had a lot of abuse. So abuse is why I'm so, it's like a core value to have safety and to have compassion and nurturing. Like it all came from that, right? So helping people discover like what were those pain points, but what was the beauty that came out of it, and what do you have to give now? But it'll be 4 weeks of just each week diving into a little chunk a little bit deeper, and then discovering like what do you want? What do you really want to draw to you? So it'll be kind of vision boarding style, but it will be using canva.com. So it will
oh
be,
yeah, I love Canva. I use Canva.
yeah, it's the best.
Yeah, it is such a great tool.
Yeah.
It's very simple. Once you get it, it's a very simple tool to use.
Totally. It's for like anyone can do it. Anyone.
Anyone. Yeah.
So yeah, so that'll be a workshop I'll definitely let you know about. That'll be coming up in December.
Very good. And and Stay Wild Child, it's for heart-based entrepreneurs to share their gifts. And so that's why I do this show. Everyone is going to relate to somebody, and that's just the perfect seed that they needed to hear at that time, that perfect message. And so that's why I do these. I know that the right people will tune in, they'll listen, and they're like, I've got to watch out for her next workshop, So that's exactly what Stay Wild Child's about. It's just it's watching these amazing, incredible women just step into their light, step into their authenticity, and then giving others the opportunity to be able to tap in and learn. And so yeah, that's exactly what it's for.
Yeah, thank you for creating this and for bringing so many amazing people together. And I love your vibe and the way that you do things, very similar to me, where it's like you just do it.
Yeah.
And you're just a shining example to me of like the ultimate trust. Just trust that you're bringing the right people into your world, and trust that they're going to say exactly something that will help someone on their path. That's such a beautiful gift. So thank you.
Thank you. I so appreciate that, girl. Well, thanks I know this wasn't your technology day, so thanks for popping on. I so appreciate it. And and so I like to let it run live for a couple days in the group, and then I'll pop it up on YouTube, and I'll definitely get you the link so you can share it with your followers. And I'll make sure that I put all of your contact information so people can follow you on your social media channels in the comment section. So thank you, Priscilla. Appreciate it so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Namaste.
Namaste.
Have a great day. Bye, girl.
You too. Bye.